A girl can only wish for superb mental health. Hello and welcome back to the Gym Girl Diaries. I am the other Des on this channel. There is two of us. And today I figured we would just literally sit in my home and kind of just have a very real, raw, honest chat. This week we are talking all about how our weight loss affected our mental health. And I love this topic because it's not talked about enough. I feel like I have so much to say on this topic, but I don't even know where to start. It's such a big topic to cover. And I think that Des, the other Des, did such a phenomenal job talking about this topic. So if you haven't watched her video yet, definitely watch her video because wow, like she just really hit everything spot on, exactly how it feels and the way our brains just kind of like to be mean to us no matter where we're at in our journeys. But I think where I will start is literally from my childhood, just because I think my weight has always affected the way that I have felt about myself. When I was 7, my parents got divorced and I very quickly turned to food for comfort. And so when I was a younger, younger than 9, 10, I was always pretty thin. Like I always, maybe not thin, but I was just like very average size. Like I wasn't overweight for my age until around, I still specifically remember like 3rd grade was whenever I really started to gain weight. And I don't remember it affecting me too much until I got a little bit older, more so into like that 4th, 5th grade range. I still remember like just feeling bigger than everybody else. And I am 5'4" 5'5" on a good day. And I literally hit 5'4" in like the 5th grade and I was way taller than everybody in my class. On top of it, I wasn't like the thinnest either. And so I just always remember feeling like such a freaking giant. Obviously, eventually everybody kind of passed me in height, but I always stayed a little bit fluffier than the average girl, I would say. And aside from that, like I am half Mexican. And so I have hips, I have glutes. I've always had hips and glutes. Unfortunately, I do not have a chest, but I've always had bigger legs, bigger bottom half of my body. And so I feel like for so long, and even now, like I can't even say that it's stopped. I feel like that has really defined who I am, like the fact that I have a big ass. And I used to hate it because I used to feel like that was all anybody ever talked about and it made me look bigger. And obviously like before I was working out and stuff, my butt wasn't like toned, it was just big. So like I didn't love my butt. And I don't even necessarily think anybody was ever talking about it in a good way, back when I was younger. And so it just like, I felt like that took up so much of my thought around the way that I looked. Now, I was never really able to lose weight. Like I kind of just slowly put it on even throughout, my pregnancies and, adulthood. Like I always continuously just kind of gained until I was finally like, all right, girl, like we need to do something. And so, that's kind of where my weight loss journey, I started my weight loss journey a million times before, but when I really started actually learning how to lose weight was when I actually started losing weight rather than just like trying this diet and trying this and, doing more cardio and whatever. Like I finally was like, okay, this is how I lose weight, and then started losing weight. When I went into my weight loss journey, my mental health was already very poor. And I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I was dealing with at least weekly anxiety attacks, sometimes daily, depending on what was going on in my life. And I also was diagnosed with PTSD following the birth of my first child. It was just like a very traumatic birth. And so I was dealing with a lot of things mentally when I started my weight loss journey. So I did not go into weight loss with healthy mental health. Absolutely not. I think for me personally, there have been pros for my mental health when it comes to my weight loss journey, and there have been cons for my mental health when it comes to my weight loss journey. And I'm going to start with the pros because I think that it is always important to recognize the good things that have happened because of my weight loss. And so, you know, if this is your first time watching me or this channel, I have lost about 85 pounds. So my highest weight was probably around 315. I don't know the exact number, but the last time I went to the doctor, I was, I think, 305 pounds. And then from there, I had gained a little bit more. So I just always go off the 315 mark. So that was where I started my journey. I'm now 85 pounds down. I'm still on my journey. And so I don't even know what it feels like yet to be in my quote unquote dream body or at my dream goal weight. I don't necessarily have a dream goal weight, but I do know what it's like to have gone to, you know, barely mobile to being a very able-bodied person now. I work out every day of the week. I am a fairly active person in my daily life. And so I do know what it's like going from, you know, point A to point B. From the time that I started my weight loss journey until now, my mental health has improved times a million. But when I say that, I don't think that it all has to do with my weight loss journey. I don't think that it all... No, I'm doing a YouTube video. I do not think that my mental health got better only because of weight loss, okay? I think it has to do with a lot of different things. When I started my weight loss journey, I was 6 months postpartum with my second baby. She is now 5 years old. So I've been on this journey for a hot minute, y'all. You know, obviously like during that time, it was very like yo-yo dieting, trying everything. So I would say I've been like consistently losing weight for the last like 2 years. You have to keep in mind where I was at that time. So yes, my mental health has improved so much, so much. I do not deal with weekly, monthly, even bi-monthly anxiety attacks anymore. I don't even remember the last time that I had an anxiety attack. And so, you know, yes, I do deal with anxiety and just like general stress of life, but not to the degree that I was, you know, when I started my weight loss journey 4-ish years ago. At the time, I also was a stay-at-home mom. And so I liked being a stay-at-home mom, but I also felt like it was really bad for my mental health. And in that time, I kind of like went back to work. Now I work from home. You know, I have a lot more going on now than I did back then. And so I think that plays a huge role into it. Also, you know, my husband and I were still very much so struggling financially at that time, which just adds to your mental health. And so I just want to be so transparent with you guys that my mental health has not improved because of weight loss solely. Did I lose weight in that time? Absolutely, I did. And I think that that has a big part to do with it, but I don't think that it is completely why my mental health has improved. Obviously, I feel 1,000 times better about myself now, about my abilities to move my body and do things. Like, I do feel so much more confident in my body, in the appearance of the way that I look now. And so obviously, yes, that has positively affected my mental health. That is absolutely a pro. Obviously, I do like the way that I look more now than I did 85 pounds ago. I also just love knowing that I am capable of so much when it comes to physical activity in general. I know that I can lift super heavy. I know that I'm a strong woman, and losing weight has allowed me to go out of my comfort zone and try things that I wouldn't normally have tried, you know, when I was living in a larger body. A really good example of that is jujitsu. Like, I do jujitsu now, and there's no way that I would have done that when I weighed over 300 pounds. Now, with all of that said, there is some cons to my mental health. And I think most of the cons were already there before. Okay, they were already present before I lost the weight. And so I think the weight loss can kind of make them a little louder and make me notice them even more than I did before. And, you know, the number one thing that sticks out in my mind, and Des talked about this in her video as well, is that it doesn't matter how much weight I lose. I always feel like I need to lose more. I always feel like I'm still not quite where I need to be. And that's a little bit frustrating. It is a little bit frustrating because I would love to feel confident and comfortable where I'm at, but I don't. And, you know, that takes a lot of guts to admit, but I don't. Like, I do still want to lose more, and I do still, you know, I want my body to continue changing. And it's been a real challenge to try and, you know, retrain my brain to thinking, I just want to be smaller. I just want to be smaller. And retraining it to think, okay, you just want to feel good in your body. You want to feel strong. You want to feel capable, able, all of those things. But I would be lying if I sat here and told you that I don't every single day think about the fact that I want to be smaller. Like, every single day I'm like, should I just get on a GLP-1? Should I just go get weight loss surgery? Like, I've been doing this for so long. I still am not where I want to be. And maybe I'm not ever going to be there. Like, these are the thoughts that go through my head every single day. And so obviously we are not where we need to be with our mental health when it comes to weight loss, but it's definitely a work in progress. I think it will be forever. And also, I think losing a substantial amount of weight also creates new insecurities, because now I have all this loose skin. You know, I have new things on my body that I get to pick apart and that I am constantly worried about and thinking about. And that's exhausting too. So I could sit here and talk about this topic forever with you guys, but what I will say is that I think when I'm taking a look at the big picture and I'm really thinking about it, from where I was at the beginning of my weight loss journey to now, I am such a different person. I've grown so much in so many areas of my life, and I do feel that weight loss has helped my mental health so much. But I also feel like at the end of the day, I'm a human and my mental health is not perfect. And I don't know if it ever will be. A girl can only wish for superb mental health. I think for me, I will always think of myself as like a big girl. Like, even if I were to get, you know, down, I don't even know how many pounds, but even if I were to get down on like a BMI scale to like, you know, my ideal weight, I think I would still always feel like the big girl, because that's just who I've always been. And that's like kind of just become part of my identity now. And I think that the more that time goes by, the more that I'm just kind of like accepting of that. And I think it also has helped me a ton to have a daughter and to just like be very mindful of the way that I'm talking around her, and also to see her and the way that she views me, like in her, like from her little eyes, the way that she views me. Like, she always talks about the fact that like my mommy is so strong, like my mommy lifts weights, like my mommy, like she has nothing negative ever to say about my body or my ability to do things. And so I think that that's like also just a huge, something just that I've learned so much in my journey, is that I am in control of the way that I think about myself. I can't control the way that others think about me or see me, but I can control the way that I think about and I see myself. And before I had her, I was always so self-critical, and I always picked apart every single part of who I was and the way that I looked. And now I'm so mindful of the way that I talk about myself, specifically in front of her, but also just like in private, in my head too, because I want to set that example, and I don't ever want her to feel the way that I have felt my whole life. And I'm trying so hard to make sure that she doesn't even like have to think about a lot of those things. So in turn, I think it's like forced me to make progress when it comes to that. But I'm not perfect, and I still do struggle. And I think it's something that I'll be working on forever. But yeah, I feel like this video was literally all over the place, but I hope that that kind of like answers this question. My mental health will always be a work in progress, and I will always be fighting to be a better version of, you know, who I was yesterday. And that is like the motto that I live by. And that is like why I show up online and why I share what I share and why I do what I do for a living. I think that's all I have to say about this topic right now. I don't know. I feel like Dez's video was so good and I just related to it so much. So seriously, if you guys have not watched her video, she really just covered everything so beautifully and like so seamlessly. And this topic is just such a huge topic. Like it's very hard to pick and choose what you're going to talk about. But yeah, that's what I have to share on this topic. But anyways, I love you guys so much. Thanks for being here, and we will see you guys in next week's video.